Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about Doordash plans to buy Deliveroo and SevenRooms. So recently we went over a deal where Doordash was planning on buying out Deliveroo, and in this article they not only finalized that, they're actually planning on buying out another company, and this one's a little bit more left field than I remember, or at least left field from my personal perspective. So with that said, we are talking about everything that's being said in this article, how it actually is for DoorDash, UberEats, and Grubhub drivers, customers, and potentially the customers of all these other platforms, and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. DoorDash announced 2 deals worth billions of dollars on Tuesday, saying it has agreed to acquire Deliveroo, the British food delivery company, and SevenRooms, a platform used by hotels and restaurants to manage reservations and marketing. Well, Deliveroo, I already went over the deal talking about that. I know that it updated since then, but feel free to check out the last video on that subject. SevenRooms is kind of a left field thought though. A platform about hotel and restaurant reservation management and marketing is a little unusual for an app that expects you to order in and stay home and have the convenience of that delivered. Yes, it is convenient to book a hotel through an app called SevenRooms, but how does that translate to food delivery? Well, that's not true either, because I actually have spoken to a lot of people who live in touristy areas, and what they have expressed is that a lot of restaurants actually have their deliveries to hotels, especially if they don't want to go out that evening. I know I've actually had plenty of hotel deliveries. Not many, but enough to be like, okay, I see it. The acquisitions would enable DoorDash, the dominant food delivery app in the United States, to expand overseas and add reservation management technology to be used by global businesses. Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed this, that DoorDash is just trying, instead of acquiring more businesses in the United States, they're just trying to acquire as many on a global scale. I think they're starting to realize that dominating more US market territory is kind of at a standstill between Uber, Grubhub, and everything else, and not to mention all the legal ramifications, that they have to explore other options. DoorDash said its agreement to buy Deliveroo, a British food delivery service, in a roughly $3.9 billion deal would give it a larger footprint in Europe and a presence in the Middle East, covering millions of users in more than 40 countries. It said it had agreed to acquire SevenRooms, a New York City-based software company, for about $1.2 billion. The all-cash transaction was expected to close in the second half of 2025, it said. I guess it's not too surprising that it's a $1.2 billion acquisition in New York City. I just thought that because they're going into overseas markets, they would buy a company out there that is more in tune with hotel and reservation management, not one based in New York City. We believe both SevenRooms and Deliveroo will expand our ability to build world-class services that increase our potential to grow local commerce and support our financial goals, the company said in a statement. Note that they are going for local commerce and financial goals and not delivery. I think that is an indicator on the future of DoorDash transitioning at this point from being a food delivery app or a last mile logistics company to an overall online platform company. Like, I feel like that's the portfolio they're trying to build, like platforms in which other companies use to market their materials. Restaurants do that with their platforms, hotels do that with their buildings, and they're the platform in which they're building, you know? Kind of like how YouTube has their own channel system. I swear, DoorDash gets their own social media platform, I'm gonna freaking lose it. I don't know if it'll stop me, but I'll lose it. DoorDash's agreement values Deliveroo, which is based in London, at about 2.9 billion British pounds, or about 3.9 billion US dollars, according to a filing with the London Stock Exchange. DoorDash made announcements as it released financial results for the first quarter that showed continued growth in the volume and dollar amounts of grocery and restaurant orders by its users. It's worth noting that even though they reached those goals, it didn't exactly help their stock price. So let's note that as well. So I think there's a question on if they are going to really expand in America any further than they already have. Deliveroo serves 9 countries, including France, Italy, Qatar, Singapore, and the United Arab Emirates. It said in a filing that the acquisition would enable the companies to invest in product and technology and strengthen Deliveroo's position in the areas it serves. Deliveroo has faced intense competition and legal challenges to its gig economy business model since launching in 2013. Its shares dropped as much as 30% in its first minutes of trading after going public in 2021. Yeah, but that's almost every IPO these days. That's not news. That's actually pretty normal. Doordash, which is based in San Francisco, bought Wolt, a Finnish food delivery company that operated in 23 countries, primarily in Europe, for about $8.1 billion in 2022. Doordash said in the filing that the terms of the Deliveroo acquisition, which is subject to a shareholder vote and regulatory approval, were final and would not be increased unless a third party stepped in with a rival bid. It said it expected the transition to close during the fourth quarter of this year. The way they said that was so condescending.
We're not going to give you any more money than we already have, unless, somebody else wants to buy you. Oh, no one else wants to buy your shitty company? Well, I guess they gave you more than they're worth then.
What a dick move. What a dick move. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. Look, I'm not the brightest knife in the crayon box, but the idea of Deliveroo getting bought out is not too much news. And I'm a little surprised that in this article, they didn't talk more about the deal with SevenRooms. Like, what is your goal with that? Like, do you just want a bunch of platforms where people are paying you to be a part of it? Like, is that it? Because it sounds like that's what your goal is at this point. What does SevenRooms have but that other food delivery companies do not? Unless you're trying to expand your niches, and in which case, stay away from social media. But you know what they are displaying with that? Is having a diversified portfolio, making sure they're on as many platforms as possible and have as many platforms as possible to make as much money as possible. And I say the same thing about the gigs that you're a part of. And also that the gig economy is an income bridge to what would be a long-term goal. It's not the goal. You need to have multiple avenues in which you make money, and DoorDash is doing that in spades. I gotta give credit where credit is due. I can't be hypercritical on a company if I'm not also honest about that company when they actually do something right, in my opinion. But if you're also looking for ways to diversify your gig portfolio or develop exit strategies accordingly, make sure you join the Driven Wyld Discord server where we talk all about that stuff. The Driven Wyld Discord community is exclusive for gig workers looking to expand their knowledge and expertise in their self-employment and entrepreneurial journeys. I've partnered with high-level professionals in our industry to bring you some of the most exclusive benefits based on your needs as a gig worker. Exclusive opportunities and postings, live streams with high-level professionals in our industry, educational systems designed to help you build your own delivery service provider as a whole, as well as other scalable opportunities. By the way, that course, the Build Your Own Delivery Service Provider course, is now live and is available in the link in the description, and that way you can build a 6-figure business in as little as 90 days. And that way, whether you're a gig worker looking for more opportunities to earn or an exit strategy, because the gig economy is an income bridge to what would be a long-term goal, not the goal, and you would like to see something with more growth potential and scalability, there's something here for you. Check the link in the description and get started with making the most amount of money in the least amount of time and in the safest possible way. We are excited and looking forward to helping you secure your financial future. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time.